Hey everybody, this is Games Plus James, and welcome to this game development live stream where today I want to take a look at making a 2D fighting game. It's something haven't tried doing before, so this could go well, it could go badly, but we're going to investigate how such a simple little 2D fighting game would work, mostly because I want to test it out for myself, and I thought it'd be an interesting experiment to do it on the stream. So we've got a couple of people in. Hello, and welcome to the stream. How is everybody? So to start off with, I just started this new project here, and all I've got at the moment is these two little characters down here that are just reused from Ludum Dare game I did last year. So I'm gonna just start off chopping these things up into little bits. I don't know what, doesn't really matter too much what scale I'm going to use, because these are just simple things for me to be able to use to represent some characters as we're going. Nothing too complicated. What am I doing? We want to turn all this stuff off. What's up, everybody? How's everybody getting on? It is indeed still live. How big are these? 256. We don't want any compression. Apply this. Then I can chop this up into little bits. You can see all the various different body parts. Just want to make sure the stream is running okay over here. If I just want to refresh my stuff. This is the first time I'm streaming from my new computer, so if anything, it'll be a bit weird. Am I recording this video? Yes, this video will go up after the stream is over. But stick around, and if you have any questions as we're going through things, that's part of doing this, is to be able to answer those things. So I'm going to chop this up into bits and pieces like this. That should be all of them. I'll do the same for this other guy here, and then we're going to make one of them into a character that we can just plop into our little world here. I don't know why I'm putting that on repeat. I won't leave it on clamp, really. Let's go for that. We'll go for this here. Yeah, so let me know if the quality of the stream is okay. That's one thing that I want to make sure. If not, I can change the settings down a bit. It's hard for me to be sure just by sorting things out from my own end here. But that's okay. Let's slice this guy up too into lots of bits and pieces, apply that, and then we're going to go ahead and make this guy. So the theory I have in my head is that my character, let's make it actually just a simple ground texture first. So I'm going to create 2D sprite. I don't know why it's got that head by default, but anyway. There we go. Just want to use one of these little UI sprite things, and then I can go ahead and, well, if it would let me, I could stretch it out. Nope, that's the wrong tool. I'm forgetting myself completely here. I just want to use this as like a simple bit of scale for the background for what our players standing on and stuff like that. And I'll change the color of it too. This is grey because it's the ground. That. So I'll like I said, I'll be putting the video up after we're finished, so don't worry about it not going up anything or missing anything out on it. Quality's good, that's good. Dan Payne just signed up to your Udemy course, that's good. Cool, enjoy it. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask away in the questions and answers section of the course, or message me on Twitter or anything like that. Will you update the RPG tutorial, or is it ended? I didn't get to a point where it was over, but at the moment I'm kind of focused on some other things. I might return to it at some point. I don't know yet, is the honest answer. I'm not really sure. But I don't want to say, no, I'm not doing it anymore. So let's pop this guy into the world. I'm going to give him a little body. camera is way too zoomed in on that body, but that's okay. I might change the sprite size actually to 32 instead of 16. Probably be a bit better. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. So yes, I was saying the idea I have basically for this is we'll create a parent object. So I'm going to create this here for player 1. It's going to be just fighting against an AI opponent rather than a 2-player thing that I want to do in my head. But basically we'll have this overall component. I'll attach a box collider to this, and then this box collider is basically what will be used to make the character stand in place in the world, and then we'll make all the various different parts a child of this box collider, and then those individual parts will have their own trigger colliders for interacting with the other player. I don't know if that'll work or not. That's why we're doing this, to try and find out and see how these things go. About creating a Discord server for your community. That's not a bad idea. I have to look into Discord in general. I've never really used it myself, so we'll see for sure. So to click on the override button to change the max size. How come you do not? In your Unity. Oh, this is probably why. If you set it to default here, you can change the max size by that way. But if you're on just for PC specifically here, or Android over here, that's how you get the override question mark. Do you develop alone? I do indeed. I'm all by myself here. I'm trying to teach everybody at the same time. It's fun. The whole learning and helping other people learn stuff in Unity. It's a lot of fun as we go. So I'm going to set this to be the very center of the parent object. And then we're going to place all the various different body parts in relation to that. So we'll get his head down to here. Let's zoom in a bit. Actually, we'll move both of these just over here for the moment, so we're on the right side of the screen that we want to be on. Pop his head down, then we'll give him one of his arms here. I'll fix all the positions of these in a little while, but for the moment I want to put him right where I can. I should actually change the center points of each of the objects as well. So it's his lower body. That should be one of the legs. That should be the other leg. Don't know which one is which, but that's okay. Knees, lower legs, and feet. So I'm not too worried. This is just a prototype, so we're not too worried about making everything actually look really good. That's not, when you're making a prototype, that's not the purpose of what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be just worried more about the gameplay of it rather than actually trying to create a finished game. No, I'm not on Twitch. I'm just here on YouTube. Let's go make some changes to the player in the Sprite Editor. So I want to move the center points of these so that when I want the body parts to move, they'll rotate around their own axes. So at the logical parts where these parts would join onto the body, basically you put the center of it there, so that's okay on that bit. These ones don't matter because they're just going to be attached to the hands. This one doesn't matter. This one should be up around about here. It's just, again, just to make it a bit easier on myself while we're working. So there we go, all these things. That should be fine. Apply those changes. You can see all the body parts have moved down a little bit, but that's okay. Sky Legends, you've been watching our videos. That's cool. I will indeed try and keep up the good work. So we're using this center body piece as like the center of the character himself. So we're going to move everything in relation to that. So the head obviously goes there. Where do you get all the assets and the animations of characters? It depends on the characters. Obviously, this stuff here is stuff I've made myself. A lot of stuff we've used in courses is either made by me, in the case of, say, the RPG tutorial. Well, actually, sorry, the RPG tutorial, the characters are made by me, but the backgrounds and stuff are from Kenny, which is where you can find his stuff at kenny.nl, KENNEY.nl, and a lot of his stuff is really good and really useful and really helpful. So that's why we use a lot of his things, especially for making the basics of a game. They're incredibly helpful, the stuff he makes. I'm hoping to do some more sprite-based stuff in the future, but that's something that we will talk about in probably some upcoming videos on the channel in the next while. And of course, if you're subscribed on Patreon, I'll be making some special stuff for patrons in the very near future too. So let's make this arm go behind here, just because it looks a bit awkward the way it is at the moment. Let's make this arm go behind that. Actually, this should be like that position, and this one should be -11, and the hand should be back further again. So there, we want to make sure that this bit of ground is like way in the distance, and then I can put this leg bit at there, say. Just arranging all these little things so that we can make it nice and simple for us as we go on. You like this character model? Good. It's from my game Shapeshifters, which, now that I think about it, I don't know where you can easily find a link to it. That's again the Game Jam entry that I did last year. I'll be doing looting there this year again, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. But that's not till like late April. What am I making? I'm making a 2D fighting game, or at least trying to understand the basic principles behind it. So now I've got all these arranged in the right way. Let's make them all children of the right objects so that they all line up properly. So we've got our body. I'm going to rename pieces so that they make logical sense, so that it's easy for me to keep track of them when we want to do animations. So the head, it's attached to the body. It's not going to move, so we're going to make it attached to the body like that. The arm here, so this will be the L arm upper. That should be attached to the body as well, so we're going to make that a child of the body. Then we've got right arm upper, so R arm upper, and we'll make that a child. And this will be the right arm lower, so R arm lower, and that will be a child of the right arm, obviously. Then we've got L arm lower. Oh, what happened there? I think I had it activated here instead of typing. L arm lower. Name your body pieces, indeed. Can you do a tutorial for inventory in a 3D game? It's something I've looked at and hopefully will do at some point, but inventories are complicated things, and depending on what game you're doing, they can be very specific to the game you're actually working on. So sometimes just an inventory isn't the most useful thing, but it's something we want to look at in the future. So we got lower body, which will just be attached right to the upper body as well. That's not going to move too much either. We've got right leg upper, then left leg upper. Both of these again will be attached to the body, so bam, there like that. Then down here, this will be the left leg knee, which will be a child of the left leg. Then we've got the right leg knee, which will pop there. Then we've got right leg lower. Nope, not loper, that's not a word. right leg lower, there we go. So that'll attach to the right leg knee. Then left leg lower, attach to the knee. Then here we go with left foot, which obviously would attach to the lower leg. It's all fairly logical. And then right foot. And then finally we have the hands. So right hand attaches to the right arm. And left hand, I don't know why I typed out the full word of left. Let's keep our naming conventions nice and simple. So left hand will go on the left arm. Okay, so we've got those basic things all set up now. So the points we're going to use to hit people will basically be our hands and our feet. So let's give them some trigger boxes that we can use to detect when our character or when our player hits another character. So we're going to add a collider to our left hand, our right foot, and our left foot. And I'm actually going to add one to the knees as well, because we might do like a knee attack move as well. So we're going to add component box collider 2D, and we're going to make it a trigger like that. So that's fine and dandy, but now at the moment our player will just fall down to the world because he's got no collider attached to him. So let's give him a box collider to the overall object of the player. So we got our player 1 here. I'm going to edit this collider. Yes, I need to edit the collider. That's what I need to do. I've already attached the box collider to it, so I'm just going to drag it down so that it's kind of roughly down around where the feet are. I'm not going to be too specific with it yet because we haven't actually started posing them or anything like that. So that's fine. We have a box collider there. Then the next thing we want to do is this big massive ground texture that we created. Let's go ahead. I'm going to rename this to be ground. I'm going to give this one a box collider too. So a box collider 2D. And we're going to leave that as a trigger, but we don't want it to be all the way up the screen because our player is already inside of it. So let's make it so that's round about there. So our player will just start at that point, just where we want it to. So here we are. We've now got the basic setup of it all in place. Of course, we don't have any enemy at the moment, but that's okay. We're not too worried about that for the time being. First things we want to do is actually make our player controllable. So let's go ahead and give the player a rigid body as well. So a rigid body 2D. And we don't want it to be able to rotate because we don't want our player flying off into the distance. A couple of people asking about portal knots. Portal knots, I'll probably have some news about portal knots in the next couple of months, hopefully. Hopefully anyway. But it had to come... I had to go on the back burner a little bit while we worked on some other things. But it is not dead. It will return. I've got some cool ideas about portal knots actually, which I'm looking forward to showing to people. Okay, so we've got our player here. Let's do the basic things first and get him moving around. So we're going to create a new scripts folder like this. And we're going to create a C# script that we'll just call player controller. Actually, let's make it more specific. Fighter player controller. No, actually, just fighter controller. Oh, I'm very finicky with my names. Portal knots for free with ads. It probably won't be released on mobile because mobile games in general, or not that mobile game. I don't have a problem with mobile games in general, but platformer games specifically on mobile platforms don't really work very well, and especially with the ideas of what I want to do with portal knots going forward, it won't really work with on-screen controls in that way. But that's not to say there wouldn't be like I could do like a portal knots spin-off, an endless runner portal knots game or something like that. Okay, so we want our player to move, so we need to know about our rigid body. So private rigid body 2D. Oop, we didn't mean to go to the end there. That we just call the RB, and then in our start function we'll make sure we find that the RB is equal to get component rigid body 2D. Now, just thinking there, I should probably make this code a bit bigger because it's a bit hard to see. How do I zoom in Visual Studio? That's the real question. I'll come back to it in a minute. If anybody knows how to make the font sizes bigger in Visual Studio, that would be quite helpful. So we've got our rigid body. Let's decide how fast we want our player to move. So public float move speed, and then we want our player to be able to jump as well. So public float jump speed. Okay, so let's make our player be able to move around in the world. So when we're on the ground, we want to have basically the ability for our player to move back and forward, because it's a 2D fighting game. We don't want our player actually to be able to move up and down in the world. It's not a side-scrolling beat 'em up. We're making a one-on-one. These guys fight each other. So in that regard, so if we want to get the input for if we're moving left to right, we don't need to worry about that one axis. So we can say if input.get axis raw on the horizontal axis, if that is actually no, we shouldn't do an if check. We can just set it to be whatever the current get axis raw is. So we can just say on the rigid body dot velocity is equal to control and scroll. Everybody's telling me, so there we go. Perfect. That makes absolute sense. The simplest ways are always the best ways. So yes, let me know if that size is okay for everybody. That should be okay. I know I'm on this new computer. I used to always stream at 720p, so the text was a good size on that I used to have, but now I'm streaming in and recording in 1080p, so I need to make sure that the text is readable for anybody. So the 100% thing on the lower left as well, yes, that would also be handy. So the rigid body dot velocity equals it equals a new vector 2. I forgot for a second what I was doing. So on the x-axis, we would just want to take whatever the current input is. So input dot get axis raw horizontal boom boom multiplied by whatever our move speed is. And then on the y-axis, obviously we don't want to change that. We want to stick with whatever our current value is, dot y. Then we want our player to be able to jump, so let's go ahead and say if we press the jump button down, so if input dot get button down jump, it is jump, isn't it? I always forget the names of buttons in Unity. Let me just jump back in and quickly check in the project settings and input. Yes, jump is the spacebar button. For some reason that always goes blank on me. Hopefully the stream shouldn't be stopping. If it is stopping, just refresh the stream. But then again, if your stream is stopped, you can't probably hear me saying that. So, okay. We want to make sure our player can jump up in the air. So let's go ahead and say the rigid body dot velocity equals new vector 2, and on the x-axis obviously we don't want the changes, so the rigid body dot velocity dot x, and on the y-axis we want to set it to be whatever our jump speed is. That should be jump force really rather than jump speed. So jump force, we'll apply that there, and that's it. That's the basics for our little simple controls. Obviously we haven't got any fighting controls yet, so let's go back in here and on our player we're going to attach that script like that. Move speed, we don't want our players moving around too fast. We'll just set it to 3 for the moment. Jump force 15. Gravity, I always like to pump up the gravity a bit, but we'll see how that feels once we get going. Stream's working just fine. Good, good. Smangold, how are you, sir? Long time no see, indeed. It works, so I can't get too rowdy. Good, good, good. Movement speed, that's okay. Jump force, that could do it being a bit higher. 20. Okay, yeah, I imagine you're doing some kicks while this is all going. How are you anyway, Smangold? I hope you're doing well. We haven't talked in a while. We should catch up at some point. Whee! Okay, that move speed is okay. So we've got our little character here. So let's go ahead and create some simple little punches and stuff for him to be able to do. So we'll start off by posing them into a kind of default standard pose. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got our body. Let's start with the legs. So right leg, I'm going to... No, don't do that now. No. There we go, that's what I wanted to do. So we wanted to work off its pivot point, not the center of the overall object. So right leg will be bent back a bit, I suppose. I don't know, I'm always bad at quickly working these out, but that's okay. And right foot will be forward like that, say. Then left leg will do the exact same thing, except this time put it forward. Lower leg, bam, like that. And foot's okay. Let's do a bit more of this. Christos, thanks for stopping by. Keep working, keep making, keep creating. Yes, indeed. Thanks for stopping by, Parn J as well. At least your character can jump, indeed. It's saying my stream is getting low quality. I'm just going to see if I can quickly stream output. I'm going to just pull this down one half. See, does that make any difference? I don't actually know if that applies until next time or when, but that's fine. Well, it says it's only uploading at that speed, so that should be okay. I don't know. Anyway, we'll keep going. Right leg. I don't really like how that looks at the moment, but that's okay. It's not really... it's not really too much of a concern, really. I don't need this all to be exactly perfect or anything. It's just to get a basic idea. Okay, so let's do his arms. So right arm, lower, and left arm lower. There you go. Simple, basic fight pose. That's grand. So now that I have this as his default pose, let's adjust the size of his box collider. So I'm going to move this up like this. Will the stream be recorded on the channel? Yes, it will indeed. Let's see. Okay, so we got that basic thing there. So if I hit play now, fall down a little bit, and now he just kind of hovers back and forward like a real cool dude. So let's give him some other little animations. I'm not going to bother animating a walk cycle because that's, again, this is just a prototype, so we don't need to go into doing stuff like that, but we will give him a little simple jump just to differentiate it a little bit, because we don't want it to look completely terrible. So animation, and we'll say player idle, which is just our simple default here. Then we'll create another one which will be player jump, player underscore, no, not tilde, underscore jump. I left out the underscore then. Oh well. Why not make a polygon collider? Oh, we're just keeping it nice and simple. I'm not there's no need to start adding extra polygons. We just need it nice and simple. All it's doing at the moment is just keeping us on the ground, basically. Okay, so we're going to have this player jump, so let's imagine what that'll look like, which would be, let's say we're going to raise up our knee at the back here, and our front like this, and then our right leg at the same time will go like this, I suppose. Yeah, I'm jumping, look at me go. Then the right arm, we'll pull that back, and our left arm will pull it forward and kind of like that. And the lower part of our right arm will pull up like that. So there we go, nice and simple. It's just a silly little jump, but that's okay. Mass Marauder, it's much appreciated. Okay, so we've got those two animations, so let's go ahead and just set it up quickly in our animator. I just realized for a second I was worried that I was, after creating all those animations, on the wrong object, but it's okay, we did it in the right way. So we got our player idle, and when we want our player to jump is basically when we want our player not on the ground. So we'll add a bool for is grounded. So if our player is no longer grounded, so if is grounded is false, well, hey, we must be in the air, so go into the jump animation, and vice versa, go back to the ground if we're if is grounded is true. So if grounded is true, we go back to there. So now that we have that, we need a way to tell our animator that our player's on the ground. So first of all, let's go ahead and create a ground kind of checkpoint for when our player is touching the ground. So we'll say create a new empty object that we'll call ground check point, and I'm going to move it down so it's kind of at the bottom where the feet should be. That seems roughly right. There we go. Why don't you use Anima 2D and Bones? Because none of that stuff is necessary. We're not making a final game here. We're making a rough draft of a game. We don't want to get into actually making finished animations or anything. We're just doing this nice and simple and nice and straightforward. So we've got our ground checkpoint. So let's add it to our script so that we can check where our player is grounded. So public bool is grounded. To that, so public transform ground checkpoint, and of course we need to know about the animator so we can tell it to switch between our animations. So public animator anim. This is a process. If you watch many videos on the channel, we've done this multiple times, creating the animator and getting access to the animator by finding it in the start function. Animator equals get component animator, like so. And we need to check then to see if we're on the ground. So is grounded is equal to physics 2D dot overlap circle, so that we're drawing a circle around the little point basically of where we're checking for ground. So we'll say physics 2D dot overlap circle. We wanted the point to be the ground checkpoint. Dot position. We need the size of the circle we want to do, which generally speaking 0.1 f will do us just fine. And we need to know what the name of the layer is that we want to do. So to do that, we need to add another variable up here that will say public layer mask what is ground. So we're just trying to see what is the ground when we're checking it, and then we'll set that in our Unity editor, and then here we'll say whatever what is ground is. Basically you're doing a check to see if our little ground checkpoint, if an area of a circle 0.1 in diameter around it, if that is touching anything that's set to be the ground layer. So let's save this, and we'll go back in here. On the ground, I want to give that the ground layer, so let's add a new layer to here. Call it ground. And apply that to the ground layer, like so. Perfect. And then if we play, oh no, we've got compiler errors. What did we do wrong? On line 28. Oh well, we never put our semicolon at the end of the line. As I was replying to someone just yesterday who was asking some questions, and they had left out a semicolon on their script, and I said leaving out a semicolon or misspelling a variable name is about 90% of the causes of errors in your code in games. No matter what experience level you're at, you will always do it. It seems like. Okay, so we've got that there, and we should... Oh no, we didn't set that up on the player. So we have no ground checkpoint, so let's pop that in there. We need to say what is ground. Well, that's the ground layer that we just set up. And now if we hit play, yay, we're on the ground. The animator doesn't know what we're in, so it doesn't know what to do. But we're doing our cool little jump here. Oh, I never reset the values for that. We set that to be 20, and I changed the speed to 5, I believe. Okay, so now we need to tell the animator whether we're on the ground or not. So say anim.setBool, and the bool we want to set is the is grounded bool, but let's actually make sure that we have spelt that the same in our animator. Yes, I did do a small I. So if we want to set the bool for is grounded, and we want to give it the value of whatever our is grounded bool currently is in our script. So we'll remember our semicolon there, and we'll hit save, pop back in, and hopefully, if that worked okay, we should be able to jump. Oh, there's a bit of a delay switching between them, so we need to adjust that on the animator, but it is working. We don't want to have an exit time, because that's what was making it take so long between. And transition duration is okay, 0.1. We'll have both of them on 0.1 actually. So let's do this again. Hoo, I'm jumping. Look at me go. It's one of the cool things about the animation and using this kind of like hierarchical rotations and stuff like that for movement of the body. Then it makes your guy go. It kind of fills in those frames in between, so you don't actually have to do the hard work yourself. Especially when you're prototyping like this, it's all good. Okay, so we've got that. So let's give him a couple of different fight moves. A few people following tutorials, which is always good. Glad to hear. As I said, if you have any questions about tutorials or anything like that, always feel free to ask. I try to answer as many things as I can, but get a lot of questions during the course of the day. And one of the best things is actually the fact that lots of other people in the community help other people answer questions and help by answering other people's questions, especially on the Udemy courses. There's a lot of people who will go in and help by suggesting either if they've encountered the problem themselves and they know how to solve it, or just some people who know a little bit more than the other people starting out in the course, so they're able to quickly go and just kind of answer them for anyone, which is pretty cool. It's good to have that going because we've got a pretty cool community of people here in general, which is exactly what I like. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and give some more animations. So we've got a player idle. So let's say left punch. Go with this one. So that'll be on obviously the left part of the body. Let's go. Boom, like that. Then we'll also go for a right punch. I just realized I put that in the wrong place, and give it the wrong name, because that's how I roll apparently. Player right punch, and we want to save it in the actual animation folder. There's no real convention to the animation names apparently, but that's okay because as I said, this is just a prototype. So animation, so we've got our right punch, which obviously would need to be our right arm here. What I'm actually going to do for this is we're going to do a little switch on the body. So on the body here, I'm going to change the sprite that we're using to be, instead of this front sprite, I'm going to change it to be this back sprite like this. And hopefully this will work smoothly. I don't know if it will or not, but we'll find out. Basically then what we're going to do is we're going to move the right arm forward like this, left arm back, then we're going to rotate the left arm up here like this, and the right arm forward like this. And we need to do the same with the other parts of the body too. I don't have another lower body sprite drawn, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. That's fine. Don't need to worry about that too much. But the legs and stuff, actually what I'll do with this, I'll just flip the scale of it. There we go. That'll do. Right leg, pop it there. Left leg, pop it there. Yeah, we'll change the rotation of these legs as well, just to make it a bit more interesting. That's actually too much. There we go. Left leg. Left leg lower. I don't know how this is going to look, but we'll find out in a little bit. I feel like I should have a way of displaying comments on the stream, because it's kind of helpful to show them in the recorded video afterwards of what people are saying and what I'm reacting to. So I might look into doing that. Alex Helly, hello Alex, how's it going? Is that a character from the game jam you did a while back? It is indeed. Ain't nobody got time for school, indeed. Okay, so we got the right punch there. We got our left punch. Let's do a right knee. So player, right knee. I'm not going to create too many attacks or anything, but with this one I'm going to do the exact same thing of switching around the body. So let's do that again. So on our project here, we're going to pop him into there. I'm going to move our arms, but this time they're going to remain, well, no, they will change, but they're not going to obviously be too dynamic. So rotate like this and just kind of pull that up, and on the right arm we'll put it back a little bit, but also pull that up like that. So then on our lower body, again I'll switch that around like that. Nope, I didn't type the minus, like so. Move forward again. Then right leg, most importantly, I'm going to move that up a little bit and then rotate it so it goes here, and put the leg like that and the foot pointing down, and then obviously the left leg we want it to be, whoop, that's the wrong rotation. We want it to be pointing back, and we want it to be moved back. Probably should, this one's supposed to be planted on the ground, so I probably should have remembered where the ground is. Let's just put it there like that. Oh, I'm quite a bit above the ground. Okay, well, we'll just imagine we're on kind of tippy toes. Hold on, I'll lower this down a bit more, and then the foot up like that. There we go, that'll do. It's kind of a weird looking knee, but that's okay. That's allowed. You rotate your hips. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we got a few little things here. So let's assign them to different buttons. We've got actually we should create one more, which would be a jump kick. So let's go back to our scene view. We're going to create a new clip. Player jump kick like this. So what I'm actually going to do is go to our player jump. I'm going to, hopefully this will work. I'll copy these animation frames and then on the jump kick here set them like that, which is just handy dandy. And now we can make some changes to this so that we're going from this position into the kick, basically. I learned all my skills from watching Mac in Always Sunny, so you know there are going to be some good skills there now. So we'll kick with our left leg, so we'll point it down a bit and point it forward like this, and our foot like that, and then our right leg will be key on up like this, yeah, and our left arm will have this pointing down as well like this, and our right arm will have this going, yeah. Oh god, it looks quite entertaining anyway. Maybe the knee like this. Yeah, there we go. That'll do nicely. Kamal, hello. You had some problems with your snowballs. As Master says, if you follow the tutorial, it should work. I'd recommend going back through the steps of the creation of the snowball in the videos and just going over it. I always find myself when I'm learning something, if something goes wrong, go back to the point where you started doing it, and usually it's the best way to do it, because rather than just sitting there and getting frustrated, if you just repeat the steps again, you'll get to a point and you realize, oh, I never typed in this value here or something like that. Do you know what I mean? You skipped over it while you were finishing up something else, say, and the video moved on a little bit faster than what you were doing. That's usually what I recommend and what I would do. Finding out why something doesn't work is half the fun of programming. Indeed, it is. Except when you really can't find out what it is that's not working, then it's just annoying. Okay, we've got our jump. Now let's go and apply these in our animator here. So our jump kick, we should only really be doing that when we're up in the air. So let's go ahead and transition to that. So what condition should we do? Okay, well, if we're not grounded, which we know we already aren't because we're in the air, and we press say we'll create a trigger for we just call it jump kick. Basically when the jump kick trigger is hit, no, we'll make this a bool actually. Will probably make more sense. So we'll say bool. No, would a trigger make more sense? Okay, I'm going to do a trigger, and if it doesn't work, then we can just rework it anyway. Trigger, jump, kick. Just going to set this to something else and then back to jump kick. Because sometimes when you delete a value and replace it in the animator, it can create a weird error. Mother Eric, yes indeed, this will be posted after it's finished. So our jump kick, basically jump kick should end when we go back to the ground. So when is grounded is true, then we should no longer be jump kicking. We don't want to have an exit time, and we don't want exit time on that one either. They should both be 0.1 duration. Yep, that's fine. So we got the jump kick. Let's go ahead and do that before we do anything else. So I'm going to make it be, we're going to add a little if statement here. I'm going to say if we are not grounded. So if not is grounded, and input dot get button down, and the button will go for fire 1 just because it's easy for me to use while I'm using the mouse here. So if that's true, then in the animator we want to set the trigger for jump kick, like that. Nice and straightforward. That's all we want to do. So let's go in here. It's good to have so many people here. I'm glad to see you all kind of involved in the world of game development. It's fun. It's a fun world in general. So that's it saved now. So let's go ahead and see if this works. So we're jumping and we're kicking. Haha! Jump kick. It works just the way I want it to. Of course, at the moment I can actually keep jumping forever and ever, and when we're already in our kick state we can't start a kick, which is okay. But it's okay. We could do with that movement when he lands being a bit quicker. So let's change that in the animator. I'm going to set that to 0.05. I'm actually going to do the same from jumping as well, because it looks a bit weird when our players' legs are going through the ground when they land. Essentially doing a fighter game because that genre gets the least attention. Yeah, well, it's a very complicated genre to develop a game for. Do you know what I mean? Getting the balance of multiple different characters in a fighting game, getting them all kind of balanced and feeling good, it's a hard thing to do. There's a reason why most fighting games don't have a lot of characters in them. I should actually save this scene, I just realized. Scenes, and I'll just save it as main just to keep it simple. Yeah, why there's not so many characters in fighting games in general, and why big games like Street Fighter and things like that, they take a long time to come out, and Mortal Kombat's and what to call them, Injustice, isn't that another big one? I don't play a lot of fighting games personally, but I do enjoy them on the odd random occasion, playing them with brothers and inevitably losing, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got our jump kick. Let's go ahead and add some more other stuff. So we got a right punch, right knee, and left punch. So obviously to do these we need to be on the ground, so I'm going to do the same thing of creating a trigger variable to activate them. So trigger what am I doing? Oh yeah, okay. My mind went blank there for a second. Which is usually something that happens when I'm... No, not a bool. Something that happens when I'm working things out by myself. But obviously that's not something that is helpful when I'm streaming. So right punch, and then finally a trigger for right knee. Okay, so left punch, when we hit the trigger for that, I'm not a fan of this services tab, keeps opening on me. So when we left punch, we have to be going from the ground, so we want to make sure that when left punch is hit there, it activates this, and transition duration, we'll set that at 0.1 again. And to go back to player idle, we actually want this to have an exit time and leave fixed duration turned on as well. I'm fairly sure that should work if my animation head is remembering properly. Let's find out. So we're going to do another check here and say if we are grounded and we press the fire 1 button, input.get button down, fire 1. Well, in that case, let's do a cool punch. So anim.set trigger left punch. Hopefully that's spelled the same way we have it in the animator. Yes, it is. Bloody Roar 2 on PS1, yeah. Trying to coordinate to make a Smash Brothers game, and this is really helpful. Cool. I've never played any of the Smash Brothers games. I never really had Nintendo consoles in general, so. But I've always been intrigued by the whole idea of having all these various video game characters. Oh, did I just say fire rather than fire 1? Yes, indeed I did. That's not useful for anybody. Let's try this again. Punch. Punch. So it's returning back to normal. This isn't exactly a very exciting punch, is it? But that's okay. Like I said, prototype, everything. Always remember, prototype. Let's change some stuff in the animator here. So the exit time, it has an exit time, but 0.9 is way too long. So we'll make it a little bit faster. We'll make the transition on this faster too. And I'm going to enhance this animation a little bit. So for left punch, let's rotate it a little bit more so it kind of looks like almost an uppercut. A little bit. Maybe. We'll see how that looks. We'll see how it comes out. What you would always ideally do with animations, especially, put like a little trail effect following after the hand when you punch. It'll always make it look more interesting and more active. Even if it's just a straight like switch between, if you had the hand down here and it just popped into position up here, but you added a little bit of a trail effect for like a very small, slight split second, it makes the person looking at it think, oh, that hand moves up in an arc. So if you made like a roundy swish like that, it makes the person think, oh, the hand animated and moves up there, even though all the hand might have done is go from exactly here to exactly here without going anywhere in between. It's a handy little animation trick to remember. Boom, boom. See, look, that looks better already. Boom, 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 boom. I can punch like a madman. Let's go ahead and do the same for our other animations here. So if we're grounded and input.get button down, fire 2. So if I right click on the mouse, let's make that be the knee attack. So we'll say anim.set trigger, what was the name we use? Right knee. Like this. So we've got two different buttons now we're using, fire 1 and fire 2. So again, we'll go ahead and test it out. Let's make sure that we actually hook up these things too. So right knee, yeah, the transition, we need that to have the trigger on it. So trigger for right knee. Exit time, we don't need an exit time. We want to make sure we do it the same as this one basically. So duration and 0.05. So 0.05 like that. And then we want to return back to normal with a certain exit time, which we have as 0.1 over here. So we'll set this back to be, we'll actually set this to be 0.05 just to make it a little bit faster. And set both of them like that. So it doesn't stay forward for too long. I'll make that change back here too. Because we want our player to be able to punch and stuff repeatedly. So that should work now. Actually, I'll hook up the right punch as well while we're here. So we set the right punch trigger. Exit time. No, we don't want an exit time on this one, sorry. We want to set the duration. And then going backwards, we want to set the exit time on this to be 0.05. And the transition to be 0.05. Okay, let's test this out. So we can jump and kick, we can punch. Oh, I've broken something on the punch, it's staying for too long now. Anywho, oh, okay, that knee is definitely too fast. Okay, problems. Let's leave the transition as that, and the exit time actually slightly longer. Let's try this. It's all about experimentation. So what I actually feel like it should be is, as long as you're holding down the button, It does the knee, but that doesn't make sense either. No, we'll just stretch it out a bit, make it a bit longer. So that's 0.25. No, that's not right. Try this. Yeah. That's okay. I think that works relatively okay. Kick. Punch. It's all in the mind. Let's fix the whatever changes we made to this one that messed it up a bit. What did I do? I don't know. That was 0.1. 0.1. That was 0.05. I didn't really make too many changes to that, did I? Somehow making it longer made it more responsive. Don't really know how that works, but okay. Maybe he leans forward a little bit with the punch. Yep, I would probably do some of that if this is going to be a more finished thing. I would work more on the animations, but at the moment I'm just trying to work out the weird quirks of the animations. So we got our little knee. It's not staying for long enough though. I don't like it. Where's our right knee? Transition duration. Speed is fine. Of course, if I just did this, if we go to our right knee here, we just add some. If we just copy this and make it last for, say, 1/4 of a second, like this here, that would actually make the knee last for longer too. Kya, like that. So that's probably too long, so we'll pull that back a bit. I'm gonna undo that stuff. Let's say put it at 1/5 of a second, or 1/6 of a second even. Nope, doesn't want to. There we go. Try this again. Punch. There we go. That'll do. That'll do for the knee. So let's do the same now for the right punch. Make sure that's working. I plan with this live stream to implement fighter AI. At the moment, we're setting up the basics of our fighter. I want to make these live streams a regular thing. So we'll probably return next Tuesday and work on this prototype some more then. And we want to create a simple little series. I want to do some more regular versions of this where we're making simple little prototypes for games. So there'll probably be more of this. I probably won't get AI implemented in this session, but that's okay. Is grounded and input.get button down is fire tree. I don't actually know what the middle mouse button is. Let's go have a look in Unity. Edit, project settings, input. Is fire tree? Oh, mouse 2. Okay, it is. That's okay. I was wondering there for a second. So we want to set the trigger for our our right punch. There we go. Words are my tool. Let's go ahead here. Whoa, it's too fast. Look at me go like a crazy man. He can really dance when he wants to. Any ideas on game design? Anything in more Street Fighter or more something like Smash Bros? Probably more Street Fighter-ish. But not too complicated. Seen some live streams going for hours. Was not sure. Yeah, we won't be going for hours and hours here. I don't think. A little bit longer, but not too much longer. We want to get the basics of our character kind of working here. So our right punch is working anyway, but it's a little bit fast. A little bit too fast. Let's set it so it's back more like this one is. We actually will need that extra bit of delay for holding the punch as well, I think. like we had in our right knee attack. So we might make a little change to the animation. Yeah, it's too quick, can't really tell what's going on. Because there's so much movement in that, you can't really tell that the punch has even happened because it's moving so fast. So let's go to our player right punch. I'm going to do the thing we did before. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it at, I don't want it to be as long as the knee, so I'm going to put it around about there. And let's check this out then. Punch, 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 kick. There you go. That's the kind of 3 simple little attacks done. Of course, in fighting games in general, jump is quite often on the up on the D-pad, which is something I've always found weird. I don't know. But it is the kind of fighting game convention, so let's change it so that our character does that. And that would also give us 1 extra button to, if we're using a controller, say, that gives us 1 extra face button to use for an attack. So we'll say if input.getAxis raw for the horizontal axis, if input.getAxis raw horizontal is greater than 0 and we're on the ground, because we only want our player jumping when they're on the ground, well, then that means we can do a little jump. So let's test that out. Go back in here. Now, spacebar won't make us jump anymore. Oh, not on the horizontal axis. We want it to be on the vertical axis. Or else, when we press forward, our character jumps, which is no good to us. Try this again. Here we go. Now we can press up to jump. Yeah. Look at me go. Whee! I'm having so much fun. But we can jump and we can kick and all that. Now spacebar doesn't do anything, but I've got my spacebar free while I'm here, so let's make spacebar do another attack. So let's say if is grounded and input that get button down for jump. If that is pressed, then we're going to do a new animation. Anim.set trigger left kick. Makes sense to do another kick for our buttons that we're doing. So let's go back in here. That's compiled, so we need to make sure we have that in our animator, of course. So trigger left kick. Visual Studio is much better. It is indeed. It's a lot better than MonoDevelop. Thought you use MonoDevelop instead of Visual Studio. Yes, in general I've used MonoDevelop for tutorials because for the longest time that was the default. It still is the default option in Unity, but now when you're installing Unity you can download Visual Studio at the same time, and it's a much more integrated component of Unity. So I think going forward I'm going to use Visual Studio. Also, another major problem was that Visual Studio on my old laptop made it run quite a bit slower, especially when I was recording videos, so it kind of just didn't really make sense to use it for that purpose. So we're going to do another animation, so let's go ahead and make sure we can actually do it. So we're going to create this new animation here in the animation folder. We'll call it player left kick, like this, and let's move our guy around to do some cool things. This one I'm going to make a little bit more interesting, so I'm going to lean, no, hold on, I want to remember the right the right foot should be there, so I'm going to lean him back like this and move the body up a little bit. No, let's move it up to there, say. let's just turn this. So if you turn it off and on, you can see where the body should be by default. So I'm going to move it like that. I want our right leg here to be able to go into position there. So our right leg, sorry, not right arm, right leg. Let's rotate this a bit. And rotate the foot a bit. So we see there, that's where the foot should be. So let's move the body so that the foot goes right about there. It's going roughly in the right place. And then we're going to put our left leg up in the air. Oh, that is not the right leg. Left leg. Yeah. Look at my kick. Visual Studio 17 is awesome, indeed. Visual Studio Eat Your Storage up, not anymore. Yeah, Studio 2017. I know I'm using. Am I using 2013? I think was the one included with. No, 2015 is the one included with as a default download in Unity at the moment. I think in the next version of Unity it uses Visual Studio 2016. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm very sure that's the case. Okay, so let's finish doing these legs. So he's doing his little kick. Let's actually make that kick go a bit higher. Yeah, nah, it's okay there. And he's so excited about doing this kick that he just throws his hands up in the air. Oop. Yay! Look at my kick. I can kick me height. It's pretty impressive. Ah, what an amazing kick. Can you just make an animation of that robot dancing? It would be pretty good. Okay, so that's our left kick. So let's set it up in the animator. Where's that? Here it is. So we'll make our transition. So we do if left kick triggers hit. We don't want to have an exit time, but we want it to have a transition duration like that. And then we want it to come back. So much like we did for the right knee, we want to make sure we use the same kind of settings roughly. So 0.1 on the way out and 0.25 on the way back. So 0.25 for all this. And we'll actually do the same thing as well of making the kick stay up in position for a while. So copy that and not too long, we'll put it there. So save that, back into the game. We play kick. Okay, that's too short. It's pretty cool looking, I won't deny that, but it's not lasting long enough. Our kick isn't. Kick. I'm gonna get you. Kick. Kick and knee and punch and all these punches and yeah. That one actually looks like it has the most power in it. Little tap, boom. So there we go. We got 4 little different moves, and we can jump in the air and do a move as well. We should actually set it so that the jump in the air, no matter what button you press, it does the kick. Because we don't want it to be just a specific button. So where we're doing our not grounded and we're doing fire 1 here, we're going to put a bracket around the input section, and then within that bracket we're going to add some OR statements. So we're going to say if input that get button down fire 1 is true, or if input dot get button down fire 2, if that's true, then we want that. Or if input dot get button down fire 3, that's also what we've used. And finally we used our jump input, so input dot get button down jump. That's all we need to do there. And the reason we want to put it inside brackets is because here we have is grounded. So if we didn't put these brackets in, basically what would happen is the computer will go actually I'm not sure if it will or not. It depends on the priority order of AND statements and OR statements. I can't remember which one takes priority, but I think the situation that would happen is it'll basically check if this whole bit is true. So it's say check if we're not grounded and the player presses fire 1, then do the jump kick. And then it'll say on the or statement here, it'll say, or if the player just presses fire 2 and just ignore the is grounded bit, then it'll do the jump kick. Same for fire 3 and fire 4. So it'll basically make this bit here one statement, and then all of these as other statements. But what we want is to have the is grounded as one statement and checking against if any of these buttons are true. So if any of these buttons have been pressed and we're not on the ground, then it does the jump kick animation basically. So save this, go back in here. If I play the game again, oh, I keep forgetting the up is jump, not jump button. So no matter what button I press, if I press any of these, look at me hopping away. If you just hold the jump button, we keep hopping. Hop-de-doo. It's kind of fun and silly, but that's okay. I didn't mean for him to do a little kick in celebration at the end there, but that's quite good too. It's a bit silly, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with making something silly and fun. Yay! Look at me. I'm a robot. Pretty exciting. But there you go. That's the basic controls for our character, all kind of laid out. The next thing to do would be to start making an enemy for us to attack, and then for us to look at ways to damage the enemy, and then add AI to the enemy itself. So we've got the basics in place now. I'm going to wrap up this stream here, but like I said, we want to make this a kind of a regular streaming thing. I enjoy interacting with you all, especially in this live capacity where people can ask questions and I can answer them as we're going. So we're going to wrap up this stream. Thank you all for coming by, but I will be streaming again probably same time next week. We're going to make it a regular thing, and we'll have some adventures and make some cool games along the way. If you have any ideas, or if this video has inspired you to do your own 2D fighter game, make sure and share it with me and everybody else, because we want to see those things. I love seeing the things that people make, either after learning something from me, or even just inspired by something, or even just something sparks an idea in your head and you go a completely different direction. I want to see those games, because that's the whole point of doing this stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the stream, and I will be back in the very near future. Goodbye.